5 camping myths can turn an ordinary night outside into hypothermia, permanent tissue damage, venom complications, or death. Drinking alcohol for warmth, rubbing frostbitten skin, eating snow, cutting and sucking a snakebite, and bringing a stove into the tent. One of those mistakes can poison sleeping campers without giving them a warning they can smell. Get the cold decision wrong, and shivering can stop before confusion takes away self-rescue. Get frostbite treatment wrong, and you add burns to frozen tissue. The useful answer is usually the opposite of the helpful-looking one. Control heat loss, protect damaged tissue, and keep combustion outside. I have spent my life sleeping on the ground in weather that makes small decisions matter. We start with the beer jacket. The beer jacket is a heat leak. A drink can make your skin feel warm, but that is not the same thing as warming the body. Alcohol widens the blood vessels near the skin and sends warm blood out toward the surface. That gives you the flush in your face and the pleasant warmth in your hands. But out there, in wind or wet clothing, that heat is stripped away faster. Radiant and convective heat loss go up, while heat is being drained from the core. Alcohol also affects balance, judgment, and your sense of cold. You take off a layer. You stay by the fire a little longer. You walk back to the tent without your coat because you feel fine. Meanwhile, the core can be falling toward hypothermia. Once confusion starts and shivering diminishes, the person may not recognize the danger or be able to get themselves warm. So, do not use alcohol as cold protection. Put your dry layers on before the temperature drops and choose tea, hot chocolate, or another warm, non-alcoholic drink when you want warmth. There is no honest camping number of drinks I can give you as a safe limit. Even moderate drinking becomes a worse bargain with cold, wetness, wind, darkness, health problems, or sedating medicines. If a companion is confused, unusually drowsy, uncoordinated, or stops shivering, get them sheltered and insulated, monitor them, and seek urgent help. A core temperature below 35 degrees Celsius is a medical emergency. I do not object to the drink. I object to calling warm skin a sleeping bag. And the next mistake feels just as helpful. Rubbing frozen fingers, which can mechanically destroy tissue already damaged by ice. Do not rub them. Do not massage them, hold them near a flame, or put a hot water bottle against them. Frozen tissue is brittle because ice crystals have formed in it. Rubbing creates shear through skin and deeper tissue, tearing cells and small blood vessels that are already damaged. And numb skin cannot judge heat properly. So a fire, a hot water bottle, or a pan of very hot water can burn it before the person knows it. Faster is not better here. Remove rings, watches, or anything tight before swelling starts. Then cover the part with a clean, dry, bulky dressing, keep it still, and keep it from refreezing. Frozen fingers are not a cold pair of hands to be worked back into life. They are injured tissue. The useful tool is restraint. If you have clean water, a container, shelter, and stable warmth, use warm water around 37 to 39 degrees Celsius. Warm, not hot, but do not thaw a hand or foot if it is likely to freeze again on the way out. That second freeze-thaw cycle does far more damage. If you cannot make a proper warm water bath, protect the tissue and let it thaw slowly while you arrange evacuation. Hard or waxy skin, swelling, blisters, or loss of feeling means urgent medical care. Do not walk on recently thawed feet or use thawed hands for climbing. And the next myth takes heat from somewhere you cannot see. Eating raw snow for water. Snow looks like water because it is water. That does not make it ready to drink. When you eat a large amount of raw snow, your body has to raise it from below freezing to body temperature. The energy for that comes from your own core, and snow is low density, so you need a lot of it to get much water. You are cooling the gut for longer while remaining cold, wet, and exposed. Snow can also carry pollutants, pathogens, or other contamination if it is not fresh and clean. So do not make raw snow your main water source when you are already chilled, wet, or running low on energy. Melt it into liquid water with fuel outdoors and drink it warm if that is practical. Treat it for contaminants when necessary. If melting is temporarily impossible, use only small amounts of clean, fresh snow sparingly. The field evidence here is based largely on physical reasoning and experience, so I'm not saying every mouthful of snow is poison. I am saying it is a poor primary plan for a cold camper, and you do not need an expensive winter setup to get this right. A basic layer, a simple foam pad, and enough fuel to melt water matter more here than a fancy stove. If you are already wet and shivering, stop chasing water. Get under shelter, insulate yourself from the ground, add dry layers, and reduce heat loss before you spend more energy gathering anything. Water can wait longer than shelter in a cold emergency. That priority is what the next mistake gets wrong, especially when a patch of moss appears to offer a direction. That patch of moss is not a compass. Moss grows where it is damp and shaded, and that can be any side of a tree or rock. It may look north biased in one place, then lead you neatly away from the trail in the next. I rely on natural cues like moss and sun. Fair enough if you're using several reliable cues and know the ground. Moss alone is the problem. Use your map, compass, GPS, or a recognizable feature. Do not let one green patch decide the direction of your night. And the rule of 3 is a planning aid, not a promise that every person gets 3 hours without shelter or 3 days without water. Cold water pulls heat away faster than cold air, and wet clothing with wind can push you toward hypothermia while you are still walking. So before searching for a stream, stop, signal for help. Get dry if you can. Put insulation between yourself and the ground. Improve the shelter and warm the torso and head. If shivering has stopped, movement is slow, or the person is drowsy or confused, this is beyond ordinary camping. Keep them insulated and get emergency help. Do not send them wandering for water. I would rather spend an hour making a poor shelter better than spend that hour walking cold toward a guess. Traditional skills are useful. Stubbornness is not a navigation method. The next myth is more dramatic. The old snakebite routine, where a heroic cut and a tight band can injure the victim and delay the treatment that addresses venom. Cutting and sucking a snakebite does not pull meaningful venom out. The cut damages tissue already affected by venom, introduces infection from the ground and the mouth, and delays evacuation. A tight band can stop arterial blood flow, cause ischemia and necrosis, and trap venom in one area. So do the quiet things. Keep the person calm. Follow local guidance on cleaning the bite. Loosely immobilize the limb without cutting off circulation. Keep it at or slightly below heart level. Monitor them and arrange prompt evacuation. Regional advice differs, and pressure immobilization may be appropriate for some neurotoxic snakes, but that is not a substitute for hospital care and anti-venom. If your first aid course taught cutting or tourniquets, that advice has been replaced. I rent gear and follow the instructions, so I will not make these mistakes. That is not a guarantee. Cold weather and group pressure make people override labels. The check is simple. No cuts, no suction, no tight band, and no fuel-burning appliance inside the tent. Carbon monoxide is odorless, colorless, and non-irritating. It binds to hemoglobin, reduces oxygen transport and oxygen release to tissue, and can build silently while you sleep. Headache or nausea may arrive after judgment, and escapability are already impaired. A spilled stove can also ignite fabric, sleeping bags, and clothing in seconds. For ordinary camping, the tent is a strict no combustion zone. Run stoves, heaters, lanterns, and grills outside on a stable, well-ventilated surface. Use layers, sleeping insulation, food, and fluids for warmth. If CO poisoning is suspected, get everyone into fresh air and call emergency services. A technical expedition may accept controls that a normal tent setup cannot. I would rather be cold than make the shelter itself the hazard. If technique matters more than another gadget, which old camping methods are actually worth carrying forward? In the next video, I test 15 bizarre mountain man tricks for what they solve, what they cost, and where they quit working. For tonight, keep the flame outside the nylon.